There's going to be rumors, there's going to be drama, there's going to be backstabbing, there's going to be all of that. It is high school on steroids. Hey guys, my name is Marissa and today I'm going to be talking about nursing school. So some of you guys might know me or probably don't, but I used to make a little bit of videos back in the day, about 3 years ago, about hair videos. I stopped doing that for a few years because I was actually in the process of getting in nursing school, and I got in nursing school and now I'm actually a registered nurse. Woohoo! I know, long time coming. Yeah, it was busy as heck, but I thought I would make a video on everything about nursing school. So I'm going to do a little mini series about nursing school and my first nursing job. So if you're interested in nursing or going to nursing school or just want to know about it, I have those videos available to you. But this is going to be the first one in the series, and it's just basically talking about what nursing school is like and what you can expect. And what it's like is, it's like hell. Just kidding. No, it's not like hell, but it's really, really similar to hell. It means that you have no free time. Say goodbye to your friends, say goodbye to your family, because you're gonna live, breathe, and eat nursing school. Now with that said, it is definitely survivable and it is definitely doable. I was able to do it with 2 children, not one, but two little tiny children. One was 2 months old when I started and the other one was 3 years old when I started. So if I can do it, you definitely can do it. There were kids in my program that were able to work a job full-time and also go to nursing school. So this was completely doable. Me, since I already had 2 kids, 2 young children at home, I did not work, and I barely had time for anything. If you're curious on what nursing school was like with kids, I'm going to make a video on that later on, so just stay tuned for that. So to start off, nursing school, at least for me, and I think everywhere else, I got my BSN degree, which means I got my bachelor's in nursing. There's different types of nursing degrees and certificates or licenses that you can get. You can get a 4-year degree, that is going to be your bachelor's degree, and I think you can get a 2-year degree, which is your associate's degree. You can also just get a license, which is an LPN, and I don't think you have to have a degree for that. I guess my expertise would be in the bachelor's degree, since I have that, so that's what I'm going to be talking about here today and in my future videos. Okay, so how many semesters is nursing school? For me, it was 4 semesters. The first semester is basically your foundation. It's your fundamentals. It's basically, do you put on gloves when you walk in a room? Do you put on gloves when you touch a patient? It's literally the basics of the basics of the basics of nursing, and it's like anatomy number 3. You'll learn about the body. You'll learn what a fever is, what's not a fever. A fever is 100.4. Older patients run lower temperatures, so if you check an older patient and their temperature is 96.3, are we going to be worried? Not so much, because that might be their norm, because they're older. So you just learn stuff like that and the basics, and it's a lot of information, and that's what I'll say. I will say that nursing school is actually easier than the prereqs, and I think the prereqs are harder than nursing school. However, nursing school has a shit ton more information than the prereqs, because the prereqs, it's hard stuff, but not as much information. Nursing, you're learning literally everything there is to know about nursing in 4 semesters, and that's literally impossible. And you'll see that when you take your NCLEX, and you'll see that when you take your HESIs. I didn't learn this. What the heck is a placental souffle? I don't know what a placenta souffle was. I wasn't taught that, but guess what? It was on my NCLEX. So anyways, there's just so much to know, and it's just almost impossible to know. So they just do their best to cram it into 4 semesters. First semester is going to be your foundation, like I said. In my second semester, we continued on to pharmacology 2. So in level 1, or semester 1, we had pharmacology 1 and all our fundamental class. And so level 2, semester 2, whatever you guys call it, it's you learn pharmacology 2 and you learn med-surg. Med-surg. I swear I have nightmares till this day about med-surg. Now, I don't think it's necessarily that hard, the content that you learn, but we just had a teacher that was out to get you. And this teacher was known as the gatekeeper of nursing school. So if that doesn't say anything, then I don't know what will. But I will tell you, it was hell. I don't know if you can see here or here, I started balding because the class was so stressful because of that teacher. But in med-surg, you're going to learn basically all your disease processes, your common disease processes, and your nursing interventions. You know, someone has diabetes. Well, what kind of diabetes do they have? Is it diabetes 1, diabetes 2? Is it diabetes insipidus? What do you do if they have diabetes 2? You make sure you check their feet, and you better not cut their toenails. You can file them, but you can't touch them. Make sure they don't put lotion in between their toenails or in between their in between their toes, because that can cause infection. So you just learn nursing interventions and the disease processes, and there's a whole crap ton of disease processes, and that's also, like I said, where it's just a lot of information. Like, you have to, it's overwhelming, but once again, it's doable. If I can do it, you guys can definitely do it. So that was level 2. There was also a class like community, where you go and you do home health care, which was really interesting because that was maybe one of the fields I might have wanted to have gotten into. So it was cool to go to people's house and provide them information and care. So in level 2, we also had communication, and that is such a BS class. It's just one of those easy classes. So you just like ching, it's done, check that off, it's done, and you're gonna get an A and you'll be fine. Okay, moving on to level 3 or semester 3, whatever you may call it. There we had OB, pediatrics, geriatrics, and evidence-based practice, and that class is a mother effer. It's the worst. Not worse than med-surg, depending on what teacher you have, but it's just was a really tedious class. They're like, you're learning about statistics and, you know, you didn't cite this the right way, so you're losing points, a lot of group projects. I don't know how it's going to be for you, but that's how it was for me. Once again, completely doable. You have to write like a few essays. You're fine. It's in the rear view. Pediatrics, for me, that's where my love is. I love pediatrics. I love OB as well. So those classes were completely fine, completely easy to do. I will say, I think OB for us was probably the easiest class in nursing school. And pediatrics was harder. However, I think it was harder because there's just so much, once again, just so much to learn. You have to know everything from like a newborn baby all the way up until an 18-year-old adolescent. So it's just a lot of information in a short period of time. And what they did for my school, so you have one semester, let's just say this, the first half of that semester you have OB, the second half you have pediatrics, or vice versa. And you have it in a half a semester's time to learn. And on top of that you have your geriatric class, and you have your evidence-based practice class. So it's just a lot of information. I feel like I'm starting to be redundant. Did I say it's a lot of information? Because yeah, that's how I would describe nursing school. A lot.
A lot of information.
So then geriatrics, that class was completely miserable for me. And not miserable because it was hard, it's just, it was boring. Like, you know, I don't want to learn about old people. Give me the babies, give me the children, give me everything except for the geros. Like, right, like they're sweet, they're cute, like I don't mind caring for them, but it's just like learning about it, it's just like, the biggest takeaway about it, I think, is just learning about your Beers criteria, which is just medications that the elderly get sensitive with. You also, another big takeaway was that elderly people still do have sex, and it's on the rise. STDs are on the rise in nursing homes because they don't use protection because they can't get pregnant, and therefore, you know, and no one really thinks that, you know, grandpa has HIV or chlamydia or stuff like that. So that was also another big takeaway, and just stuff that you learn in the geriatric class. Moving on to level 4. Now level 4, oh God, I love level 4. It was a cakewalk. That is with the exception of the first class. Now the first class is done in 1 month. So you're going to class like crazy. You're going to class 5 days a week, and it's like 3-4 hours a day. And then you have a test at the end of the week, and it's just
a lot of information.
And that was our critical care class. So if you're an ER nurse or you want to be an ER nurse, pay attention to that class because you're going to learn everything that you do when you get a trauma patient in. You're going to learn also if there's a natural disaster, how do you tag people? What is the red? What is the black? What is the yellow, you know? So that's just one half. And then you have the whole rest of your semester, and the whole rest of your semester is basically preceptorship. I don't know if all schools do this, but my school did. It's just wherever you want to go. If they have room for you, you go there and you basically learn how to become a nurse. You get 12-hour shifts. No more with those half little bougie 6-hour shifts where you don't get to do anything. No, in preceptorship, you're doing everything. You're shadowing the nurse and she's telling you everything that you're doing. You're charting, you have your own login, you have, you know, it's really hands-on and you learn a lot. Yeah, so you have preceptorship and getting those clinicals in, and then you also have, for us, we had psych, so we were also learning, you know, the whole psych world, you know, and psych is all about
Therapeutic communications.
you know, if you're a nurse, you know that you took that class and that's what it was all about. It's just learning how to communicate with your patient therapeutically. That class was also a flyby class, and I think that was the last class that we had. After that, it was just a whole bunch of testing. Yes, okay, so in nursing school, all of those classes that I just listed, those are the semesters. You're gonna have clinicals. So you have your psych clinicals where you go to a psychiatric hospital or behavioral health hospital, however you wanna call it, and then you do your clinicals there where you show up and you just learn what a psych nurse does. Yeah, so you just learn how to basically be a nurse, but honestly in clinicals I didn't really learn much at all. It's just, I'm telling you, don't stress about clinicals. You'll learn what you need to learn in preceptor, if not on your first job, I promise you. And then so there's the clinical portion, which I just talked about, and like I said, I'll do a video more in depth on clinicals, and then there's the theory portion. So that's like the class where you go to lecture for like 4 hours or 1 hour, however many hours it may be, and you'll actually learn like the theory portion of it. So in your lecture courses, you might have these things called EAQs or mastery questions or whatever they are. And these things are just practice NCLEX questions, and you have to get a certain level or reach a certain amount of points to move on to whatever your teacher has set it to. And they're annoying because if you get them wrong and you keep getting them wrong, you'll never level up. So you have to get them right. And sometimes you can just Google the answer and you'll find it and it'll pop up and it's like, hallelujah. Other times you just have to figure it out. But if you're paying attention in class and you're reading your textbooks and you're doing everything that you should be able to answer the question. However, they're different from other classes that you've taken because they'll ask you a question and all 4 answers will be right. Which one is most right? Now, this used to scare me when I would watch other YouTube videos. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never gonna pass nursing school. But I am here to tell you, I didn't find such a hard problem with them. I thought they were like, I'm not saying they're easy, but they're doable. Like it's the right answer, you'll know it. Not all the time, sometimes you'll be stuck between A and B or B and C, just 2, you know, you can always narrow it down to 2. But it's an art and you'll learn, you know. They'll prep you from day 1 how to answer these questions so you can pass NCLEX, which is why they have you do these EAQs or mastery questions so you can, you know, practice for the NCLEX. And if you do them, you'll do well on the NCLEX. Just put in the work and it will pay off. So you might have case studies, and this is basically they'll give you like a scenario. Katie, she's 12 years old. She came to the ER with a broken toe. And then you also have Jimmy. He's 15 years old and he's going into anaphylactic shock. Which patient do you assess first? And then you say, I picked Jimmy. And you answer questions about him, and then you answer questions about the little girl. It's just to give you fake scenarios to better prepare you to think on your feet in the real world. And then you have simulation. And simulation is where you go to this center, and then center has mannequins. Sometimes they have actors who are acting like patients. And so you will have a scenario, you'll get it into your little clinical group, and they will tell you the scenario and they'll tell you, oh, okay, go in there. And then so it's like, it looks like a whole hospital room, so it kind of feels like you're in the hospital, and then the mannequin will be talking to you. But it's just like you get a scenario and you kind of just have to figure it out. Meanwhile, for us, how it was, there's cameras in there, so your whole clinical group is watching you, and then they write on the board like good things that went well and things that went bad, and your teacher kind of gives you feedback when you're done with the scenario once it closes. And then you just go over it, and it helps you be a better nurse. Like, oh, when you went in there, you didn't even identify the patient by first and last name and date of birth, so guess what? You were in the wrong patient's room. Just stuff like that, you know? So it's a learning experience. And it's also like, oh, you did really well. Like, you caught on when the patient said, oh, I've been taking this med and this med at the same time, that had a cross reaction, and that's why he's in the hospital. Duh. Like, you know, so just stuff like that. But so those are your simulations. Another thing that I need to mention is, so when you're in nursing school, it's like a little class. It's called a cohort, and you're stuck with these mother effers for a whole 4 semesters, and it's awful. It's cool at first, you think you're friends or whatever, and then it's just like everyone just slowly starts to get on your nerves. The people, you know, I had one friend who I started with, and she is still my good friend now, till the end, and everyone else just, man, they just annoyed me. Like,
I don't want to hear about your, famous boyfriend for like every single day for the rest of my life that I'm stuck with you. I don't want to hear about like, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just like people get annoying when you have to like see them all the time.
And I'm sure I got annoying to people too. And then it's just like, then there's the rumors. My advice for surviving nursing school with that is just try to stay low. Like, the louder you are, the more problems are going to come to you, because there's going to be rumors, there's going to be drama, there's going to be backstabbing, there's going to be all of that. It is high school on steroids, okay?
High school on steroids.
Because at least with high school you could, oh, maybe we have different lunches, we don't have the same class together, I just have to see them on the hallway. No, this one you're stuck with them, and oh, God forbid if you have a clinical group with them, God bless you. But once again, if I did it, you can do it, and it's going to be fine, and maybe you'll have a better experience, and maybe you'll just love everyone. Okay, another thing that you need to know about nursing school is that you cannot pick your schedule. They are going to give you a schedule, and this is the schedule that you have to follow, so better arrange for childcare, better tell your work, like, hey, you need to be flexible, or I need to get a new job, or I need to quit, because it's going to be SOL. They're like, okay, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday you need to be here, and on Friday you need to be here. And it changes every semester, so it's just like, oh. But if you have a flexible schedule now, then you should definitely be good, and if not, you'll find a way to work around it. But that's something to definitely keep in mind with nursing school. Also, another thing is, I don't know about everyone's school, but I know ours was different. So I think with regular prereqs, you can get a D, good enough for you. But if in nursing school, a D is not good. You cannot get a D, you have to have a 75%, and you have to have a 75% on a test average. So your assignments don't count, your quizzes don't count, it has to be exams and HESIs. They counted HESIs for ours. So if you don't have that 75%, it means that you fail and you have to retake the class. And retaking classes, I'm not just sure if it's like universal for all nursing schools, but try not to fail, because if you fail, then you get bumped into the last cohort and you have to retake that one class that you failed. But if they don't have spots for you in that last cohort, because let's just say no one failed in the last cohort, and that means there's no spot for you, then that means that you have to wait for the next cohort. So now you're going to be like 2 semesters behind. So just don't even put failing into your head. Take failing, throw it out. You're going to pass. Do whatever it takes to pass, because it's just a whole nightmare you don't want to have to worry about. Another note that I had was that, at least for us, level 1 was, we got babied, and thank goodness, because it's just tough going into nursing school and not being babied. Like, I couldn't imagine. They made me really feel safe. Our teachers were nicer, but then I kind of was expecting that with the other levels. And with the other levels, they're like, you're out in the wild, fend for yourself. Like, they're not gonna hold your hand. But it just, to me, it was like, oh my goodness, it was like a shock after I got off of level 1. And I think that sums up this video. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and stay tuned because I'm going to be posting more videos about nursing that you might have questions about or just want to know about. So yeah, see you soon. Bye.